and we are talking about investment in football and its financing. Let me give you just a preamble before I introduce our guest. Football world over has shifted modules of administration and financing. It is one of the sports with the highest investments, favoring fortunes to individuals who are talented in this arena. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi dominating that in terms of earning. Football dominance is glued on many factors, which include financial stability, good player recruitment, success on the pitch, huge stadium attendances, among other factors. And investing in this sport has seen a tale of change if you've been around Uganda long enough. The word "vake" can be new to some, especially the younger generation, but for starters, it is simply the addition of SC Villa, Express FC, KCC FC, but gone are the days when the Uganda Premier League was dominated by 3 traditional clubs, and over the stretch of the last 24 years, there's been extended investment and financial support. Now, in Rukiga region, there's a lot of nurturing of talent through football, and Alex Kanuga is a business person who has invested heavily in this sector, going to shine a light on how he does it, the challenges, but also what formulas can be adopted for success. A very good morning, Mr. Alex Kanuga, who is joining us via Zoom this morning. How are you? Good morning, Mr. Alex Kanuga.
Yes, Elvis. Nice having me, and good morning to everybody, and good morning to all football lovers in Uganda.
All right, a very good morning. I would love to give this chance to start this conversation to the sports analyst, Elvis Senono, because he does understand the dynamics a little bit more than I do. So, Elvis, take it on.
Yes, Alex, good morning. Your name is
Good
not
morning,
quite.
Elvis.
Yes, your name is not quite familiar with Ugandan sport. And when did you pick the interest to start up a football club in Uganda?
Elvis, you might need to know that I am born and bred in Uganda. I come from a district called Rukiga, and I come from a small sub-county called Kamwezi. So I am that Ugandan village boy who knows and loves football. But I currently work and do my business in South Africa, and that's where I came into contact with football investment and football development. And I started Kamwezi Giants Football Club mainly to achieve 3 things to the minimum: to be able to nurture talent, but also to be able to create a platform through which we can develop our youth. And to me, football is a social phenomenon whereby you give youth platform to not only develop their talents, to not only put themselves on the market for international football or national football, but also to be able to achieve the things that football gives a person to be better in society: discipline, teamwork, ability to control emotions, and all that, to me, are the pillars of development of our youth. And therefore, that's why mainly I decided to invest in football. And recently, we've just launched Kamwezi Giants Football Club. And I would like to assure Ugandans and assure everybody who loves football in Rukiga that we have talent. We are not only going to get stars, but we are also going to create a platform based on which we are going to develop our youth socially and economically.
Mr. Kanuga, when you say you're investing in football, what exactly do you mean? Are you organizing a tournament? Are you going to ensure that the team that you set up that is Kamwezi, is going to enter the league structure, or it is something that you're going to bring together players from probably the same area and have them have a kickabout?
So what we are doing is we have first and foremost registered a football club with the District Football Association. And we've done trials, and we've gotten about 25 young youth from our district. And then I've put in money to make sure that they have the basics they need to develop their talent. So basically, the small investment I've done is to avail resources and avail coaches and avail other requirements for the youth of my district to be able to get and grasp the basics. Once they've grasped the basics, we would like to start developing their skills. And once we have a resemblance of a football team, then we will expose our youth through tournaments. Right now, the Rukiga Football Development Association, District Association, has amateur leagues, small leagues. We are starting from the 5th division. We hope to proceed to the 4th division. And soon or later, Uganda will be treated to the Chichiga football. And soon or later, the world will be having boys from Rukiga playing football at the international stage.
Mr. Kanuga, how do you intend to sustain this football club? You're not the first person to come up, and probably with a lot of passion. We've seen several starting up clubs, and within about 2-3 years, they are fed up and they've disappeared. How do you intend to sustain this football club?
Thank you so much. Of course, the financing models of football traditionally have been your match day collections, if you go to international football, your television rights, your player transfer fees. Unfortunately, we don't have this kind of finance streams. So what we are trying to do is we are first and foremost demonstrating to government and demonstrating to the development partners who are out there, who are able to put in money, that small district-based football models can be used to sustain a football club. For myself, I have earmarked a 5-year plan and to put together resources that will be able to sustain my club at least for the first 5 years. And once I have achieved the minimum levels of development in terms of football, I intend to expose my players to the development partners. By the way, football is not only developed for economic purposes. There are so many development partners out there that are willing to put money in football to ensure that our youth are healthy, to ensure that our youth are kept away from the social ills, drugs, talk about all the social ills that you know that our youth face. I have seen programs funded by USAID, funded by DFID, that have millions and millions of US dollars targeting youth to keep them healthy out of the social ills. I will be writing proposals, and I will be using my club not only as a talent development vehicle, but also an organizational platform for our young people, such that then government and development partners have organized, disciplined, well-drilled youth to do anything with. Government is putting money behind so many programs. And programs, believe me or you, that programs will be there targeting youth. And if we organize youth through football, definitely funders will come aboard. And if we are lucky and get talent, we will talk to the national teams, we will talk to the international teams, and the few we will get should be able to sustain my club. I've already been talking to some of the international clubs. From where I am, Mamelodi Sundowns, where one of the Ugandans play, has been talking to us to get a way of making inroads into Uganda and search for talents. These are programs that could sustain a football club for as long as you want, if we are organized, and that's what we are trying to do.
Okay, Mr. Kanuga, I'm seated here, but I'm really worried for you because we've seen several people with similar kind of ambitions like you. But for me, I would really love to know, for example, Mr. Kanuga, are you going to, for example, how do these players or the people who are going to be at the club, how are they going to be direct beneficiaries? Are you going to employ them like for years, or are you going to be paying them monthly salaries, something like that? Because it's going to be extremely difficult for you to survive in the current environment.
I have, from the beginning, told you that what I've done, I've put aside resources to run a club for 5 years. And I've employed the minimum staff that are required to run a club. And that's your coach, that's your manager, that's your CEO of a club. And we think within those 5 years, we should be able to identify sustainability channels in which this club should be self-sustaining. And I am a very positive person. Impossible is nothing. We should be able to sustain our club.
Mr. Kanuga, how much do you think, on average, you'll be spending, say, monthly? Can you put a sum to that investment?
Okay, for the beginning, our club will be costing us about 10 million per month. And we have resources to be able to run at this modest expenditure for the next 5 years.
Okay, have you done research about how much do you know about football in Uganda?
I am not a football specialist, but I know who has the knowledge that I need to run the club. And therefore, I have consulted with FUFA, I've consulted with the region, I have consulted with the District Football Association. We have very, very experienced and very knowledgeable young people running our District Football Association, and they are all helping us to ensure that we run these clubs and we are positive that we have enough knowledge and enough research, not necessarily done by me, by the experts. And all we need to do is to find them, and they give us the knowledge to use in developing our clubs.
All right, Mr. Kanuga, I am not very inclined to ask the overly detailed nitty-gritty of the sports aspects, but allow me come from the point of view of the average Ugandan who has often been exposed to projects like academies. I'm sure there was a time you heard about young boys who used to beat Barcelona, and they were from Uganda, the KKL League, and their exploits, no doubt about that. Does your model help to harmonize the education structure of young boys and girls who can be brought into the academy, pursue their education comfortably as they also exploit the talent that they may have? Are we looking at an education sporting academy, or are we looking at a football investment?
I think it is a mixture of both. I've just been in Uganda. When I was launching Kamwezi Giants, which is just like a few weeks ago, my staff gave me I think there were about 3 young boys who evidently I could see have talent. However, their parents are concerned about their education.
That's right.
And the motto we are using is that we get the young boys into the club, develop them, identify their talent, without forgetting their need to pursue their education. And therefore, these 3 young boys, I had to quickly get their detailed information. And I came to Kampala, went to known footballing schools to try and see if these boys can be given trials. And if they are given trials, then we would bring them. If they pass the trials, we would bring them into footballing schools. And if the schools take them in, then we are made to understand that there are some bursaries. But a boy in Kamwezi will not get that opportunity if Kamwezi Giants does not identify them and pick them and bring them to Kampala. So we are using a combination of strategies, and those that don't make it to schools that offer bursaries, we will try and make sure that they are able to get education in Rukiga, and we support them, working with their parents, support them to develop their skills, but continue their education.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex Kanuga, investor and, of course, owner of Kamwezi Giants FC. That, to be very particular, is not Kamwezi, but Kamwezi. That's right, Kamwezi Z.
It's Kamwezi with a Z.
Yeah, sure.
That is a border sub-county in Rukiga district with Rwanda.
Okay. Elvis.
Yes, Mr. Kanuga, where do you get the confidence that the project you're undertaking is going to succeed?
That's a very good question. I get my confidence from my life. I am a boy who was born in a remote Rukiga district, and here I am able to fund a club And I have, by God's grace, have ability to be able to fund a club for 5 years at the lowest level. So to me in life, like I've said from my life, impossible is nothing. And also, I'm not only have the confidence to fund the club, but I also have the confidence to be able to do much more to our communities through starting something, demonstrating to other people that things can be done. And in the next few years, if you keep track of who Alex Kanuga is, you will see that I believe that things can be done if only we can start.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Alex Kanuga, for the insight and, of course, the dose of hope and optimism when it comes to transforming Uganda's football through management and, of course, running matters at Kamwezi Giants Football Club. Many thanks for joining us from Pretoria. And, of course, it was an honor hosting you on Morning at NTV. Have yourself a good day, Mr. Kanuga. And let's return to close quarters, Elvis. That is a very ambitious project.
Yeah, it is. Have a nice day.
All right, sir.
Yeah, very ambitious. And Chris, like I stated earlier, to be honest, we've seen passionate...
Yes, Mr. Arafat.
We've seen very...
Thank you so much.
Very passionate people coming up with similar projects. But you worry about the sustainability.
Sustainability.
Yeah, and when we were speaking with Mr. Kanuga, he was speaking sort of like an individual, like sounded to me like a one-man project.
One-man project, yeah.
And Chris, sustaining a football club, just a small skeleton of people.
Yeah.
You need about 25 players, then the coaches and all.
He spoke about 10 million Uganda shillings being earmarked for a month to manage things. You've seen the workings of local football clubs, even the ones that are not on the higher echelons of the league. Is 10 million Uganda shillings something to write home about when it comes to effective management and administration of a club?
For a team maybe that is just starting out, and talking about what, the 5th tier of the football league structure, maybe it can be sufficient to help run the club for a month. But it requires lots and lots of investment. How long he can do it, and we are talking about, we are not. I think we seem to be working on the assumption that, like, every year there's going to be progress.
There's going to be progress.
There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be lots of frustrations, and so for me, I'm not one of those who is. I'm usually a realist. Sometimes you refer to me as a pessimist.
No, one thing I'm sure is that Mr. Alex Kanuga and the team have done some sort of SWOT analysis. They know where their strengths are. They also understand the challenges and the threats they face.
You talked about the model that he's going to use. Most of the clubs that have come up in the rural areas have been community-based. You will need the help of the community, in terms of finances especially. For me, unless there is there are financials already that he has in place, it's going to be extremely difficult for me to pull that off. So the models that are sustainable are, for me, those that involve the community. Something that the current FUFA administration has been trying to emphasize. It's not sustainable to have this rich man's kind of syndrome, where someone comes up with a lot of money, throws into the club, and then after 5 years he's run bankrupt. It's not sustainable.
What exactly is the sustainable model?
It should be the community. It should be the community model. Unfortunately, most of our clubs have not embraced it. The one that started out and you thought they were on the road to succeed, I think they've gone off the boil a little bit. That is Onduparaka. There is something that also the FA president had introduced with Sports Club Villa, that was registering funds. And then they would use those funds from the funds to help run the club. That also fell flat on its face. So at the moment, it's very difficult. And by the way, when you look at, say, the top flight league clubs,
Yeah.
there are 15 this season. The most successful ones, the ones that have been competing for the title, Vipers and KCCA.
That's right.
Vipers have an owner who injects the money, that is Lawrence Mulino, most of the money, but he also has sponsors these days. You can talk of DFCU and then Plascon, they help in that regard. And then he's growing a huge fan base because he also runs a school, St. Mary's Stadium, St. Mary's School, Chitende. So he has a growing fan base from the children that go to Chitende. Most of them, you see them return because they've picked interest in the club. So in that regard, the fan base is increasing. Then the other clubs, KCCA is an institution. They use our taxes, same as URA. Express is a community club which is struggling, same as Villa. So that gives you a picture about the football league structure at the moment. All right, that's a discussion. Of course, I know Elvis and the boys will be able to expound on a little bit later, so you can catch them on Mumuligwe Mizanyo at 1:30 p.m. Let's go for a break. Morning at NTV continues. In our Kickstarter discussion, we shall be taxing the entertainment industry and, of course, everything else that is within it. We have one of the leading vocalists. You'll be seeing and hearing exactly what will be coming from him. Stay with us. I'll be right back.